The rain hammered the casket like God's own judgment, each drop a nail in the coffin of the woman who'd lied to me my entire life. Aunt Lydia's whisper cut through the downpour, her lips brushing my ear like a serpent's tongue. "Gabby, honey, your mama didn't just die, she took the truth to her grave with her. You're not hers. You're one of them." I jerked back, mud splashing up my stockings, the mourners' umbrellas bobbing like black mushrooms around us, oblivious to the bomb she'd just dropped. In that split second, staring at the hole swallowing Evelyn's body, my mother, or so I'd thought, I made a vow that would drag me straight to hell. I'd claw back every stolen breath of the life that was mine, even if it meant becoming the monster they raised me to fear. That was 6 months ago, in the ass end of Queens, where the dead outnumber the living, and the living pretend not to notice. New York City, the city that never sleeps but always screws you over, had been my cage since the day I could walk. Gabriela Ruiz, Gabby to the few who gave a damn, 28 years old, scraping by as a barista in a hipster coffee joint in Williamsburg, slinging overpriced lattes to influencers who wouldn't spit on me if I was on fire. My days blurred into nights of ramen noodles and eviction notices, my dreams haunted by a vague ache, like remembering a song you heard in the womb. Evelyn had been my anchor, chain-smoking menthols on our sagging stoop in Astoria, spinning tales of better days that never materialized. Cancer ate her from the inside out, quick and merciless, leaving me with a shoebox of unpaid bills and a 2-bedroom walk-up that smelled like regret. The funeral was a pathetic affair, 10 people max, mostly neighbors who'd borrowed sugar and never paid it back. Father O'Malley droned about eternal rest from under his plastic poncho, but I barely heard him over the storm raging in my skull. Lydia, Evelyn's estranged sister, showed up late, her face a roadmap of Botox and bad decisions, dripping diamonds that screamed old money. She'd flown in from Palm Beach, or so she said, and cornered me by the grave like she owned the plot. After the dirt was shoveled and the crowd dispersed to some dive bar for watery whiskey, she dragged me to her rental Lincoln, the leather seats sucking at my wet clothes like a bad date. "Listen, Gabby," she hissed, lighting a Virginia Slim with manicured nails that could double as switchblades. Evelyn made me promise. On her deathbed, raving about sins and switches. "You ain't her blood. You're Victoria goddamn Blackwood." The name hit like a subway train. Blackwood Enterprises, media conglomerate, tabloid kings, the family that owned half the skyline and all the scandals. Victoria Blackwood was their golden girl, heiress, philanthropist, face on Forbes under 30, with cheekbones sharp enough to cut glass and a laugh that echoed in society pages. I'd seen her once, on a gossip site, arm in arm with some tech bro at the Met Gala, diamonds winking like they knew my secrets. Twins, Lydia said. Switched at birth in a Midtown hospital. 1997. Evelyn, the night nurse on duty, poor, desperate, fresh off the boat from Puerto Rico, saw her chance. The Blackwoods' baby girl, Victoria, marked for a life of silver spoons and shadows, Evelyn's own daughter. You, Gabby, doomed to the grind. A deliberate swap, fueled by envy and a twisted maternal instinct. Evelyn raised me as her own, buried the truth under layers of love and lies, while the imposter, my body, my face, grew up in penthouses, boardrooms, wielding power like a weapon. Why now? I choked out, the city lights smearing past the tinted windows as she gunned it toward the Midtown tunnel. Lydia's eyes flicked to the rearview, like we were being tailed. Because Evelyn's gone. And Victoria's circling. She's tying up loose ends. That embezzlement rap 5 years back? The one that landed you in Rikers for 18 months? Wasn't you.
Doll.
It was her, cooking the books at the foundation. Siphoning millions for her coke habit and boy toys. Framed you clean as a whistle. Used your dead-end life as the perfect patsy. Cops didn't even blink. Poor Latina girl with priors for shoplifting? Slam dunk. Rikers. The word still tasted like rust and despair. I'd taken the fall without a fight. Too numb from Evelyn's disappointment to lawyer up properly. 2 Christmases in a 6x8. Birthdays with contraband Twinkies. Emerging tattooed with regrets and a felony that barred me from every decent job in this godforsaken city. All for her sins. My twin. My thief. Lounging in my legacy while I rotted. The rage bloomed hot and black, coiling in my gut like a snake ready to strike. Lydia dropped me at my door with a manila envelope, Evelyn's insurance policy. Inside, faded Polaroids of 2 infants side by side in hospital bassinets. Identical except for the ribbons. A yellowed birth certificate with Victoria's name scratched out, Gabriella inked over, and a scrawled confession from Evelyn. Dated the week she died. I did it for love.
Mia.
But love's a liar. Take it back. Make her pay. I burned it that night in the sink, the flames dancing like demons, whispering plans I couldn't voice yet. Revenge wasn't a word, it was oxygen. The next weeks dissolved into obsession. I quit the coffee gig. Lived off Lydia's guilt checks, $5,000 wired anonymous. Enough for ramen upgrades and a burner laptop. I devoured the digital detritus of Victoria Blackwood's life, Instagram reels of yacht parties in the Hamptons, TED Talks on empowering women while she crushed unions at the family paper. The Blackwoods were old blood. WASP royalty with skeletons in every closet, Granddaddy's prohibition bootlegging. Daddy's Me Too whispers swept under NDAs. Victoria, the crown jewel, had clawed to CEO after old man Blackwood's heart attack, red, overdose. Hushed up. But the cracks showed. Late-night TMZ blind items about her, erratic behavior, whispers of audits at the foundation. I haunted the edges of her world, a ghost in thrift store chic. Posed as a journalist for a podunk blog. Scored an invite to a charity gala at the plaza, black tie for the 1%, rubber chicken for the rest. There she was, across the chandelier-lit ballroom, me, but polished to a lethal sheen. Same hazel eyes, same crooked smile, but hers dripped entitlement, framed by a red gown that cost more than my yearly rent. She worked the room like a shark, air-kissing senators, her laugh a weapon. Our eyes met once, mine from the shadows by the bar, nursing a pilfered champagne flute. Did she feel it? That electric hum? The pull of stolen blood? She glanced away, dismissing me as another faceless server. That's when I knew. She'd bury me alive if she knew. But I had an ace. Courtesy of Lydia's whispers over late-night Zooms. The Blackwoods' dirty secret wasn't just the switch, it was the fix. Victoria's empire rested on a tech arm. Blackwood Labs. Dabbling in neural enhancement, code for mind-bending experiments funded by DARPA slush funds. Consciousness transfer. They called it in leaked memos, swapping essences between bodies. Immortality for the elite. Controversial as hell, FDA raids, whistleblower suicides, but operational in underground clinics for those with enough zeros in their offshore accounts. Evelyn had overheard the pitches during her nursing days. Filed it away like a grenade pin. Victoria, paranoid about aging, Botox only goes so far at 28. was their star patient. Scheduled for a tune-up next month, a full swap with a donor body. Some comatose starlet or indentured surrogate. To shed years like snakeskin. The idea slithered in during a fever dream. What if I became the donor? Infiltrate the lab. Rig the machine. Swap us. Wake up in my body, her body, the throne, and watch her squirm in mine. Trapped in poverty's cage. It was insane. Unethical. A one-way ticket to moral oblivion. But ethics are for people who haven't had their life stolen. I spent days in public libraries, poring over pirated PDFs on neural mapping, nights chain-smoking on fire escapes, mapping entry points. Lydia fronted more cash for forged creds, Gabriela Ruiz. Biomedical tech from a defunct startup. Audacious? Hell yes. American dream twisted into nightmare fuel. The applications sailed through, greased by a hacked email from a mid-level exec I'd catfished on LinkedIn. Orientation was a sterile hell in a Tribeca warehouse disguised as a wellness center, waivers thicker than war and peace. Promising reversible neural sync, while the fine print screamed experimental roulette. The staff were ghosts, NDAs tattooed on their souls, ushering me to a prep room with humming MRI coils and 4 stands like chrome spiders. Donor profile matches perfectly, the doc murmured. A weaselly guy named Hargrove with eyes like dead fish. Genetic twin to the principal. Ideal for calibration. I bit my tongue bloody to keep from laughing. Calibration.
Right.
They prepped Victoria that night, sedated, wheeled in like royalty. Her gown traded for a Johnny that made her look human. Vulnerable. I glimpsed her through the observation glass, flawless skin stretched over cheekbones that were mine by right. Monitors beeping her vitals like a countdown. Hate curdled sweet in my throat. This was for Rikers. For the job apps ghosting me. For Evelyn's cough-racked nights whispering apologies in Spanish. The anesthesiologist, bribed with Lydia's last check, nodded from the shadows. At 2:17 a.m., as the machine whirred to life, a vortex of light and pain swallowing us both, I thought, welcome home.
Sister.
Waking up is the cruelest mercy. One moment, oblivion's black velvet, the next, a flood of sensations crashing like a hangover from hell. I gasped, or tried to, my throat was raw. Tubes snaking like vines, pulling free with a wet rip. Beeps pierced the fog. Monitors screaming data I couldn't parse. My body, her body, felt alien. Heavier in the chest, lighter in the limbs. Skin tingling with the ghost of 1,000 spa treatments. I flexed fingers that ended in French manicured nails, ruby red like fresh blood. Victoria's hands. My hands. The mirror across the recovery bay confirmed it, those eyes staring back, wide and wild, framed by waves of chestnut hair that smelled like Chanel No.
5.
I'd done it. Stolen back what was mine. But triumph curdled fast. Alarms wailed, mismatched vitals. Neural drift. Hargrove burst in, face ashen, barking orders at nurses who scattered like roaches. Sync failure. Get the principal stabilized, stat. Principal.
Me. Now.
They thought I was her. The glitch a routine hiccup. I played the part, fluttering lashes, murmuring.
What?
Happened? My head, in a voice smoother than silk, laced with that uptown drawl I'd mimicked from her videos. They bought it, pumping me full of sedatives and scans, cooing about minor desync, nothing a few days won't fix. Lies. All of it. The machine had worked too well, essences fused. but anchors held. I was Victoria Blackwood,
CEO.
untouchable. And somewhere in the donor wing, in my old skin, pockmarked by stress and sun, tattooed with prison ink, she was waking to the nightmare I'd gifted her. Discharge came swift, courtesy of Blackwood Cloud. A black SUV idled curbside, driver in mirrored shades calling me MS. Blackwood like a prayer. The penthouse on Billionaires Row swallowed me whole, marble floors echoing my hesitant steps, floor-to-ceiling windows framing Central Park like a private kingdom. Staff materialized, Filipina maid with a deferential bow. Personal chef plating seared scallops I devoured like a starved wolf. My first night, I raided the wine cellar, uncorking a 98 Bordeaux that tasted like victory. Then her closet, racks of couture that fit like sins. Louboutins pinching toes and used to such torture. I danced alone in the living room, Spotify blasting Jay-Z, laughing maniacally at the absurdity. This was power raw, electric, the kind that bent the world to your whim. But power's a double-edged blade, and mine was already nicking flesh. Emails flooded the BlackBerry, board meetings, merger talks, a Senate lunch with whispers of antitrust probes. Victoria's calendar was a battlefield, every slot a landmine. I skimmed, faking fluency in spreadsheets and legalese, delegating to assistants who eyed me sideways. Everything all right, Vic, purred Elena, her executive aide, a shark in pencil skirts. I waved it off with a throaty chuckle, just the jet lag from that Hamptons haze. Lies layered like lacquer. But cracks formed. A mirror glance revealed it. My posture slouched. A queen's hunch creeping in. My laugh. Too brassy. Not her polished trill. And the dreams, flashes of Riker's bunks. Evelyn's frail hand in mine, morphing into Victoria's gala smirks. Whose memories were these? The swap hadn't just traded shells, it stirred the sediment. Truths bubbling up unbidden. Revenge. Though, that fire hadn't dimmed. Step 1. Salt the earth. I started small. Anonymous leaks to the Village Voice, tips on foundation irregularities. The embezzlement trail leading straight to VB's signature. Reporters bit like piranhas. Headlines blooming overnight. Blackwood heiress under fire. Charity cash vanishes? Victoria, in my old body. Probably holed up in the Astoria walk-up. Fielding collection calls. Would feel the squeeze. I imagined her panic. That entitled brain rattling in a frame too weak for its schemes. Step 2. Personal. I hired a PI, ex-NYPD, with a nose for dirt, to tail her. Photos pinged my phone, her shambling from the apartment in my threadbare jeans. Eyes hollow, begging for day labor at a construction site. My life, choking her like a noose. I forwarded one to the board. Anonymous. CEO's twin? Doppelganger drama? Paranoia rippled. Meetings turned inquisitorial. Whispers of psych evals. The controversial calls came quick, testing the venom in my veins. First, the foundation board, demanding audits. I could have come clean, spun it as youthful folly. Instead, I doubled down, fired the CFO, a loyalist who'd covered for her, framing him as the mastermind. Clean house, I declared in the oak-paneled conference room, voices echoing off walls lined with oil portraits of stern Blackwood patriarchs. They applauded, mistaking ruthlessness for resolve. But his family? Wife in tears on the evening news. Kids yanked from private school. Innocent casualties in my war. As sleep evaded me that night, guilt gnawing like acid, But I swallowed it with black coffee and coke dusted from her vanity drawer, her vice. Now mine. Addictive. The rush mirroring the high of retribution.
Then.
The deeper cut, Harlan. Victoria's fiancé. Venture capitalist with a jawline like chiseled granite and eyes that stripped you bare. He swept into the penthouse unannounced, reeking of bergamot cologne, concern etching his Botox-free brow. Vic.
Talk to me.
The press is circling like vultures. I let him pull me onto the Eames sofa, his hands roaming familiar paths, her paths, not mine. Kissing him was clinical, at first, mapping the terrain, but his touch ignited something feral, a reclaiming. We tumbled to the master suite, silk sheets tangling like conspirators, his whispers of "I love you," a bomb and a brand. Post-coitus. Tangled in his arms. I confessed fragments, twin secrets. Swapped fates, not the full swap. Just enough to bind him. Help me bury it, I murmured, tracing his chest.
He did.
Pulling strings at the Times, quashing stories with ad buys. But doubt flickered in his gaze. Was I the same woman who'd ghosted his proposals? The sex blurred lines, pleasure laced with possession. Love a weapon I wielded clumsily. Controversial? Hell. It was incestuous in spirit. Betting the man who'd proposed to my thief. But in America's Game of Thrones, loyalty's just another transaction. Meanwhile, she festered. PI reports painted a portrait of unraveling Gabriela Ruiz. Evicted. Crashing on couches in the Bronx. Pickpocketing tourists for subway fare. A bar fight landed her, me, in cuffs. Mugshot splashed online with eerie resemblance captions. I watched from my tower, sipping Pinot Noir, a goddess to her worm. But the twist nod, Lydia's calls grew frantic. She's asking questions. Gabby, Vic. Hired her own snoop. What if she figures the swap? Figure it? She'd live it. Trapped in a body that betrayed her every step, aches from old injuries, scars from my rough childhood. Yet empathy flickered. Unwanted. Was this justice or just cruelty porn? I drowned it in boardroom battles, greenlighting a hostile takeover of a rival indie press, crushing voices that dared critique Blackwood monopolies. Critics screamed media despot, but the stock soared. My reflection in the Bloomberg terminal smug and sharp. The climax brewed in a storm of its own. 6 weeks post-swap. An internal audit unearthed the real embezzlement trail, not just foundation funds, but Blackwood Labs slush. Payoffs to silence neural transfer casualties. Whistleblower email. Routed through proxies, Victoria Blackwood authorized illegal trials. Bodies broken. Minds lost. Check the donor logs. Panic clawed my throat. Hargrove. Cornered in his office. Spilled under threat of exposure. The swap wasn't a fluke. Victoria had ordered it, me as donor. Selected for genetic affinity, after DNA pings from the old switch flagged my existence. She'd planned to offload her decaying shell, early MS. Hidden from the world into mine, fresh and unscarred, while dumping me into a pauper's grave. But the anesthesiologist flipped the script, loyal to Evelyn's memory. Dosed her double. You were the revenge from the start, he croaked. Before I let him walk. No loose ends.
Not yet.
I confronted the board in emergency session, spinning the logs as sabotage. Authorizing Hargrove's retirement package, a one-way flight to nowhere. But the damage seeped. SEC probes, shareholder suits. Victoria's face, mine, plastered on CNBC as the fall of an empire. Harlan stood by me, or so he claimed, but his touches grew tentative, eyes searching for the woman he'd lost. And her? The PI snapped her outside the Astoria precinct, wild-eyed, clutching a manila envelope, my envelope, Evelyn's confession unearthed from a safety deposit box. She knew. And she was coming. The knock came at midnight. A fist like fate on the penthouse door. Harlan was in D.C., schmoozing lobbyists, the staff dismissed for the night. I padded to the peephole in Victoria's cashmere robe, heart jackhammering. There she stood, me, but ravaged hair matted, eyes ringed black as sin. My old prison hoodie hanging loose on a frame whittled by hunger. Gabriela Ruiz, the imposter unmasked, clutching a butcher knife swiped from a diner shift. Open up, sister, she snarled, voice a gravelly echo of my own. We need to talk. I let her in, because running was for cowards, and this was the reckoning I'd courted. The foyer light cast her in chiaroscuro, half shadow, half fury, as she brandished the blade, trembling not from fear but exhaustion. You think I wouldn't find out? The lab. The swap. Evelyn's note led me straight to you. She lunged. Clumsy. Telegraphed. I sidestepped. Years of subway dodges kicking in, grabbing her wrist and twisting till the knife clattered on marble. We grappled, twin forms colliding in a frenzy of slaps and curses, rolling across the Persian rug like alley cats. Her breath reeked of cheap gin, mine of fierce sweat under Chanel. This body, your body, was mine, she spat, nails raking my cheek, drawing beads of blood that welled too red, too real. I need her gut, pinning her with weight that felt foreign, heavier, entitled.
No, bitch.
It was mine. You stole it first, at birth. Framed me for your greed. This poetic fucking justice. She bucked, eyes blazing with a madness I recognized, the same that had bloomed in me at the funeral. Justice? Look at you, playing dress-up in my closet, signing my checks. But you can't fake the soul.
Gabby.
Or should I say Vic? The board smells it. Harlan's pulling away. You're unraveling faster than I did in Rikers. Her words landed like gut punches. Truths I'd buried under power plays. The board meeting that morning, sidelong glances. Questions laced with doubt. MS. Blackwood.
Your.
Styles changed. Therapy. I'd laughed it off, but the fracture lines spiderwebbed. And Harlan's texts, miss the old you.
Call me.
Old you, her. The swap's half-life. Essences bleeding through like ink in water. Whose thoughts were these? Memories of Hampton sunrises clashing with Astoria stoop sunsets. Loves tangled in identities. We broke apart, panting, the knife forgotten between us like a truce flag. She slumped against the sofa, defeat etching lines on my face that hadn't been there before. Evelyn switched us to save me from him. Daddy Blackwood. He wasn't just ruthless, he was a monster. Beat the mistress who birthed me, drowned her in the Hudson when she threatened to talk. Evelyn, your mother, was her nurse. Saw the bruises on baby Vic. Switched us so I'd grow up safe. Poor but whole. But she never told me. Lied to protect the lie. The revelation hung, twisting the knife deeper. Evelyn, my anchor. Not a thief, but a shield? The confession burned different now. I did it for love.
Mia.
Love for the child she'd stolen to save. Raising me, her blood as her own. Betrayal inverted. I'd avenged the wrong villain. Victoria, real Gabriella now. In the shell I'd cursed, laughed. Bitter and broken. I found out at 16. DNA test for a school project. Confronted the old man. He bought my silence with the foundation keys. But the power. It poisoned me. The embezzling. The frames. It was to bury the family's sins. Keep the empire clean. You took the fall because you were expendable. The poor twin. The ghost. Her eyes. My eyes. Softened in the lamplight. We could have shared it. Twins. For real.
But now?
You've gutted it all. Leaks. Firings. The lab's exposed. SEC's raiding tomorrow. It's over. Over. The word echoed.
Hollow.
I'd clawed to this perch. Shedding ethics like snakeskin. Innocence ruined. Vices embraced. A merger that shuttered a Brooklyn print shop. Killing dreams with it. Controversial? I'd greenlit Hargrove's accident. A staged overdose in his Cayman Pie de Terra. Silencing the donor logs forever. Body count for a birthright. And for what? A throne crumbling under my ass. Sirens wailed distant. Or maybe just in my head, city pulse. Or cops closing in on the whistleblower trail. She rose. Unsteady. Offering a hand. Not to fight. But to bridge. Swap back. Before it's too late. We end this. Together. The machine hummed in memory. A siren's call. Possible? Hargrove's files. Hidden in her safe, reversal protocols. Risky but viable. One more sin. Then freedom. But as I gripped her palm, mirror images locking, doubt flooded. Who was I? Really? Gabriella. The fighter from the streets? Victoria. The queen of cutthroats? Or some hybrid whore? Stitched from both. Harlan's face flashed his love. If real. Tethered to her shell. The empire. Teetering. Could be salvaged. Twins at the helm. Rewriting the narrative. Or torched. Letting the ashes fertilize something new. I chose controversy incarnate. No, I whispered, pulling her close. Not in violence but conspiracy. We bur it down. Together. Her laugh mirrored mine. Dark and defiant. We plotted in whispers, anonymous dumps of the full Blackwood vault, Daddy's ledgers. Lab horrors. The Switch certificate digitized and drip-fed to WikiLeaks. By dawn, as rain lashed the windows like Judgment Day, we torched the foundation docs in the fireplace, flames devouring proofs of our sins. She crashed in the guest suite, my old body sinking into Egyptian cotton, while I paced the balcony, city lights winking complicit. Harlan called at 6 a.m., I let it ring, tasting the freedom of fracture. The raids hit at noon, FBI and windbreakers swarming the tower. Badges flashing like bad omens. I faced them in the boardroom, cool as Arctic steel. Victoria at my side in a borrowed suit, playing the estranged twin card we'd rehearsed. Family drama. I drawled to the suits. But the books are clean. Lies. Layered thick. The real dirt was already viral. Blackwood Fall trending from Tokyo to Tulsa. Protests brewed outside. Gig workers she'd crushed. Now chanting her name. My name. Our shared curse. Harlan arrived mid-interrogation. Face thunderous. Yanking me into the hall. What the fuck? Vic? Twins? Swaps? This is insane, you're insane. His slap stung. Not from pain but betrayal, his empire dreams dissolving in my chaos. I kissed him then, fierce and final, tasting goodbye. Go, I said. Before you drown, too.
He did.
Vanishing into the elevator with a look that broke something vital. By evening, the empire cracked. Stock plummeted 40%. Board ousted us in absentia. Headlines screaming Blackwood twins, scandals double helix. We fled to a safe house in Red Hook, Lydia's bolt hole. A warehouse loft with harbor views and ghosted vibes. There, over takeout lo mein and bootleg tequila, we mourned Evelyn's ghost. The lives we'd warped. The power that had seduced and soiled us. Was it worth it? She asked. My old voice soft in the dim. I shrugged, staring at the Verrazano Bridge lights. Ask the history books. Or the therapists. Laughter bubbled. Cathartic. Twins at last. But revenge's aftertaste is ash. Dreams worsened. Evelyn's deathbed. Daddy's fists. The machine's whine blending into screams. Whose guilt? The SEC froze assets. But we had stashes. Lydia's wires. Harlan's parting gift of a numbered account. Enough for new starts, her in LA. Me in Chicago. Shedding skins for fresh aliases. Yet the pull lingered. Blood calling to blood. One last controversial play. I leaked the reversal protocol to open-source hackers. Democratizing the tech. Immortality for the masses? Chaos for the elite. Let America debate it, freedom or Frankenstein. Months blurred into a haze of reinvention. The kind that America peddles like snake oil. Pull yourself up. Rewrite your stars. Consequences be damned. Victoria, real Gabriella, ditched the city for the sprawl of Los Angeles. Chasing screenwriting dreams with a vengeance that bordered on therapy. She texted sporadically, landed a gig on a Netflix pilot. Your laugh's still in my head, creepy as fuck. I smiled at those. Holed up in a Wicker Park brownstone in Chicago. Pseudonym G. Ellis, freelancing as a consultant for indie media startups. No boardrooms, no red carpets, just laptop glow and the L train's rumble. Anonymity wrapping me like a flannel shirt. The body felt settled now. Muscles remembering heels over hoodies. But the mind, a patchwork quilt, seems straining. Harlan resurfaced in tabloids first, engaged to a biotech heiress. Some wunderkind with patents on gene-editing toys. His wedding announcement hit like a sucker punch, smiling in black tie. Her in lace that screamed, upgrade. I toiled over a bottle of Malbec that night. Scrolling old photos, us tangled in penthouse sheets. His whispers of forever now footnotes in my exile. Controversial to the core had I loved him. Or just the conquest. The power he represented? Or was it the mirror? Betting the man who'd never know the full me? I fired off a congratulatory email from a ghost account. To new beginnings. Don't fuck it up like we did. No reply. But his stock tweets dipped the next day, guilt. Or coincidence. In this hyper-connected hell. Who could tell? The empire's autopsy played out in slow motion. A spectacle that divided the nation like a bad divorce. Blackwood Enterprises splintered. The paper sold to a Murdoch wannabe. Labs shuttered amid lawsuits from neural orphans. Folks left vegetative post-transfer. Families suing for billions. Protests raged from Wall Street to Occupy 2.0 encampments in Zuccotti Park. Signs waving, twins of tyranny with our photoshopped mugs. Pundits on Fox called it socialist sabotage. MSNBC hailed justice for the 99%. I watched from dive bars, nursing IPAs. The debate raging in my chest, villain or vigilante. We'd exposed the rot. Daddy's ledgers detailing bribes to DA's offices. Cover-ups of union bustings that left workers crippled. But at what cost? Hargrove's suicide haunted me. His family's GoFundMe, a quiet indictment. One night, buzzed on bourbon, I wired them anonymous, 50 grand, untraceable. Absolution? Or just easing the itch? Lydia vanished into Florida swamplands. Her last voicemail a cackle. You girls tore it down good. Evelyn's smiling somewhere. Chain smoking with the angels. Angels. If heaven took switchers and schemers, it was a bigger tent than I deserved. My own hauntings peaked in therapy, yeah.
Me.
Spilling to a park slope shrink with wire rims and no bullshit. The swap, I hedged. It was like inheriting a curse. She nodded, jotting notes on integration disorders, but never pushed the sci-fi envelope. Progress came in fits, journaling the bleed, Riker's rage fueling boardroom bravado, her coke-fueled highs crashing into my ramen lows. You're both, she said one session, rain pattering the window like funeral drums. And neither. That's the American way, remake or ruin. The twist hit like lightning. 6 months shy of the swap's anniversary. A package arrived. No return. Manila envelope. Evelyn's scrawl on the seal. For when you're ready.
Mia.
Heart slamming. I tore it open on the brownstone's scarred oak table. Inside, not the confession I'd burned, but a video cassette, VHS, relic from the 90s. No player in sight, so I Ubered to a retro shop in Logan Square. The clerk smirking as he threaded it into an ancient VCR hooked to a flat screen. Static snowed, then sharpened. Evelyn. Younger. Hair dark without the gray. Sitting in a hospital break room. Date stamp 1997. If you're watching,
Gabi, Beak.
whoever you are by now, means I failed to tell you face to face.
The switch.
It wasn't just to save her from him. She leaned in, eyes wet, voice cracking over the hum. Blackwood, your daddy was sterile. Lab confirmed it. Hush money to the doc. Victoria? She wasn't his.
Mine.
Conceived in a moment of weakness. Him drunk after a merger close. Me cleaning his study late. He found out. Beat me senseless. Threatened to ruin us all. I switched you at birth, my girl, for his heir. So she'd inherit clean. Away from his fists.
But you, Gabi.
You were his blood.
From his wife.
Legitimate. I raised the pretender to protect the truth. You're the real heir. Untainted. Forgive me. Or don't. Just live free. The tape ended in fuzz. Evelyn's sob echoing as the screen blinked. Reversal complete. The truth inverted again. I wasn't the stolen pauper. She was the cuckoo in my nest. Evelyn, my rock, had played God, dooming me to the shadows to shield her bastard from the storm. Rage surged, then ebbed to grief's undertow. All of it, Riker's. The swap. The fall, built on her lie. A pyramid of deceptions crumbling to dust. Who to blame now? Her ghost? The Blackwood's venom? Myself.
For the blood on my hands?
I called Gabriella that night. Voice shattering over the line. Evelyn.
She.
Words tumbled. The tape's revelations spilling like bile. Silence stretched. Then her laugh. Ours, raw and releasing. Twist on twist. Makes us even.
Huh.
Or more fucked. We met a week later. Neutral ground. A diner off the I-80 in Ohio. Formica tables sticky with history. She looked good, L.A. Sun-kissing skin that was mine once. Script pages peeking from her bag. Over greasy eggs and bottomless Joe. We dissected it. Evelyn's love. Warped as a funhouse mirror. Birthing monsters from mercy. She wanted us safe, Gabby said, stirring sugar into black. But safety's a cage. We broke out, messy, but ours. The ending? No tidy bow. No Hollywood fade. We parted with a hug that lingered. Blood recognizing blood. Then diverged, her to sets and spotlights. Me to a novel brewing in late-night Word docs, fiction. They say, but laced with our venom. Harlan? A footnote. His wedding photos deleted from my cache. The labs? Thriving underground. Swaps democratized. Ethicists wailing on podcasts. America debates, progress or perdition. I walk Chicago's lakefront at dawn. Wind whipping waves like accusations. Body humming with borrowed vitality. Free, at a cost.
Whole,
Never. But alive, fiercely.
flawed.
Unapologetic. Revenge taught me, the sweetest poison is the one you swallow yourself. And in this land of second acts, I'll take the burn.